everybody. Thanks for joining us on The Pulse, Politics in a Heartbeat. Well, it's been another wild week. We finally, as a nation, had a state funeral for John McCain, the war hero and senator. It's our last chance to say goodbye. He asked that Presidents Obama and Bush speak at his funeral. He made sure to make sure that Donald Trump did not speak at his funeral. And let's face it, if he did, it would have been a shit show. So I'm really glad that he did that. He deserved to go out on a high road and with people that actually honored him. And of course, there was an amazing speech by his daughter, Megan, who made a lot of comments that were essentially geared towards Donald Trump. And let's face it, he really is a threat to this nation. And all of them realize it. And I hope all of you watching do as well. The next thing that, boy, what a week. Bob Woodward's book, Fear, came out. And it pretty much, solidified what everybody had been thinking all along. It wasn't like, oh my gosh, Trump is crazy. No, we already knew Trump was crazy. We already knew he was unstable. We already knew a lot of things about him. It just proved through interviews with many people in the administration that it was right, and that all of us have been right all along. Of course, he's out there right now going, fake news, it's fiction, But anytime he does that, that means it's real. It's true. Because he doesn't attack things that are fake. He only goes, that's why he calls the media fake. Because they're real. He never calls fake things fake. He's always the opposite. So the funny thing about that book is immediately, I think that was on Tuesday, and on Wednesday, immediately what came out was an op-ed in the New York Times, basically reiterating everything much of what's in Bob Woodward's book, and again, everything we knew. But basically, it's somebody in the White House saying that it's okay, we're taking care of things, we're preventing him from creating shit. You know what? You're letting 90% of the crazy stuff happen. And honestly, you really needed to come out and say who you are and tell everybody what the problems are. And you should be on every network television explaining what you've done, what you've seen, and bring your co-conspirators with you, because evidently this anonymous person is not alone. Oh, and speaking of anonymous, in a speech yesterday, Trump trying to deride the person, I don't even know if I can screw up the word anonymous, but he was like going, anonymous. The disgrace that man is as president. And also in the news, Colin Kaepernick, former 49ers quarterback, in the news again, this time with a big Nike ad. And a lot of people, on the right saying, oh, it's going to take down Nike. And they went out and burned all their shoes. I've got to just say, I laugh every time the right goes into some kind of, we're going to protest mode. Burning your shoes. And, what was great is Nike put out an ad or a warning or something on how to burn your stuff properly. I thought that was brilliant. Now, I'm not saying Nike is the best company in the entire world, that they treat all their employees great and all that. But you know what? The fact that they're out there and they're giving voice to Colin Kaepernick and what he's concerned about, which is about police brutality. He's not desecrating the flag. He's not saying veterans don't deserve recognition. None of that stuff that the right likes to fictionalize and make it about. He's talking about police brutality. And, I had some people arguing with me, saying, well, he's not really giving voice to that. Are you kidding? If I'm a 12-year-old kid and I'm watching TV, and I saw the ad today, if I'm watching that ad, in fact, right now I'm going to get a little emotional. If I'm a 12-year-old kid, I'm crying. I'm bawling watching that because it's hitting me, because there aren't enough things in this world where it shows that anybody can hear my voice. Whether Nike cares about the voice doesn't matter. The voice is out there. It's being heard. People are talking about it. That's the beauty of what Nike did. Whether they make $1 billion on it, great. The voice is out there. The dialogue is out there. That's what I think is important. Which really leads me to the next thing that I want to talk about. really my main topic, which is police brutality. Colin Kaepernick, is trying his protest to get people to talk about police brutality. That's the subject he wants everybody to talk about. And police brutality, particularly against people of color. And, I think all we can do is we see the news, we see Facebook feeds, we see all over the place. I mean, just today or yesterday in Dallas, a cop went in and shot a black guy in his own house thinking it was theirs. I mean, I'm sorry. If that was happening to white people would be freaking out. If black policemen were wantonly shooting white men, there would be an outrage. They'd be marching on Washington. But because it's a minority group and it's not affecting you, many people go, well, it's not that big a deal. It is a big deal. This is important. That's why this man risked his career and staked his career on doing this. I'm glad he's gotten paid from Nike. I felt bad for him. But let's get back to police brutality. Here's the whole thing. We put a lot of cops in harm's way. I am not anti-police. In fact, I can first off tell you, I count on the police. A civil society depends on a police force that is well-trained, knowledgeable, and does its job. I count on that every day. So I am very pro-police, but I am not pro-crooked police. I am not pro-racist police, but I wouldn't be pro either one of those things in any profession. And nobody else should be either. And here's what I think is we have these police working really, really hard. We're asking them to be marriage counselors, child counselors, babysitters. We ask them to do a whole array of things. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm getting a little emotional. It's an emotional topic for me because I feel bad for them. I have seen police in action, and I'm so proud of them. I can tell you there was an incident in our family where someone was threatening suicide, and the police handled it brilliantly. I thanked them. I told them, you get a lot of bad press. You don't deserve it. But here's what I will say. Some cops are not able to do that. They are not able to translate and see that it's a person in front of them. And I can't fault them. Society is rough. TV is rough. Our parents aren't perfect. There is no manual, right? So some kids get brought up in a racist home, and they think every black kid is a danger. They think every black kid's a thug, even though no more than any white kid is a thug. But they have that in their heads. Those guys should not be police. That's just it. So what we need to do is pay our police a lot more, put them through much better training where we know that they're psychologically able to do the job. And honestly, I've seen a few specials on 60 Minutes, other places where community policing, where the police actually get out of their cars and work with the people in neighborhoods, even in the rough neighborhoods, it changes the whole dynamic. And that's what I'm going to say we really need to be doing is finding ways to change the dynamic between police and their neighborhoods and their communities. That's how we're going to fix this problem. That's at least one of the ways we're going to fix this problem. It also takes all of us. Every time we witness something racist, it's up to you to say something to that person. I don't care if they're black or white. And, white people will say, well, black people do it. Yeah, so what? Stand up against it. It doesn't excuse white people doing it. I get really tired of other people. We always put it off on somebody else. That's Trump's way. Blame everybody else. It's, other people are doing it. I couldn't care less. If we want to make the world a better place, it's up to us. We need to do it. So we need to respect the police, but we need the police to respect us. That's going to happen through training, through more pay, and counseling on their part, being able to learn how to handle people. And I think if we all work towards that end and we pressure our communities and we pressure our mayors and city councils to start thinking about getting our police a raise and expecting better training, I think things can change. But that's going to be up to us. And maybe this dialogue starts that, and maybe this puts the idea in your head. And I hope there's somebody out there that will take this somewhere, because I really think we've got to take action. And that's what it really comes down to. So That's it here for The Pulse this week. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week.